Hi, and welcome to this Now Maths video on using decimal multipliers to find percentages. In this video, we'll be focusing on how we can use decimals and a calculator to find percentages nice and quickly. We'll take a look at examples of all of the skills on screen now, but if you're only interested in one of these skills, then you can use the chapters below to skip to the parts that are relevant to you. To find a decimal multiplier, we need to turn the percentage in the question into a decimal. To turn a percentage into a decimal, we divide by 100. If you need more help with this, please check out our video on this linked in the info card now. Looking at the first question, 35% as a decimal is 0.35 because that's 35 divided by 100. The reason this is called a decimal multiplier is because if we multiply any amount by 0.35, it will work out 35% of that amount. So in this case, we're going to work out 0.35 multiplied by 250 to work out 35% of 250. And 0.35 multiplied by 250 is 87.5, so 35% of 250 is 87.5. Now for the second question. To find our decimal multiplier, we need to turn 8% into a decimal. To do this, we divide by 100, and 8 divided by 100 is 0.08. This is our decimal multiplier because if we multiply any amount by 0.08, it will find 8% of that amount. So in this case, if we want to find 8% of 246, we multiply 0.08 by 246, which will give us an answer of 19.68. And finally, for our third question, to find our decimal multiplier, we need to turn 2.5% into a decimal. To do this, we divide by 100, which gives us 0.025. So 0.025 is our decimal multiplier because if we multiply any amount by 0.025, it will find 2.5% of that amount. We want to find 2.5% of 1,300, so we multiply by 1,300, which gives us an answer of 32.5. Now you've seen a few examples, you might want to pause the video here and have a go at using decimal multipliers to find the percentages on screen now. If you paused, welcome back. Starting with question 1, 67% as a decimal is 0.67. So we multiply 0.67 by 350 to give us an answer of 234.5. For question 2, 23% as a decimal is 0.23. So we multiply 0.23 by 1,560 to give us the answer of 358.8. For question 3, 5% as a decimal is 0.05, so we multiply 0.05 by 87 to give us an answer of 4.35. On this question, a really common mistake is to write 5% as 0.5, which would be 50% as a decimal rather than 5%. And finally, 1.2% as a decimal is 0.012, so we multiply 0.012 by 5,640 to give us a final answer of 67.68. Now we're going to take a look at how to increase an amount using decimal multipliers. Both of the questions on screen now are increase questions. Remember, to increase by a percentage, usually we would find the percentage given, then add the answer back onto the original amount. To use a decimal multiplier, we're going to approach these questions in a slightly different way. Looking at the question on the left first, we're going to start by saying that 350 is 100%. And if we want to increase 350 by 58%, we need to add 58% to 100%. This gives us 158%. So if we're increasing 350 by 58%, we're actually finding 158% of 350. We can use a decimal multiplier to find 158% of a number, and to find the decimal multiplier we need to write 158% as a decimal. And 158 divided by 100 is 1.58. So 1.58 is our decimal multiplier. This means that if we multiply any amount by 1.58, it will increase that amount by 58%. So in our case, we need to multiply 1.58 by 350, which will give us an answer of 553. And this is our final answer. Approaching the question on the right in the same way, if we say 4,560 is 100% and we're increasing by 7.3%, we need to add 7.3% onto 100% to give us 107.3%. So increasing by 7.3% is exactly the same thing as finding 107.3%. Now to find our decimal multiplier, we divide 107.3 by 100 to give us 1.073. And since we're increasing 4,560, we multiply 1.073 by 4,560 to give us the answer of 4,892.88. Now you've seen a couple of examples of how to increase by a percentage using multipliers, you may want to pause the video here and have a go at the two questions on screen. If you paused, welcome back. Let's have a look at some solutions. So for the question on the left, we're increasing by 62%. So if we're starting with 100%, we need to add 62% on to give us 162%. Now 162% as a decimal is 1.62. So to increase 840 by 62%, we multiply 1.62 by 840 to give us 1,360.8. Now for the question on the right, we're increasing by 3.6%. So starting at 100%, we need to add on an extra 3.6% to give us 103.6%. Now 103.6% as a decimal is 1.036. So to increase 1,250 by 3.6%, we multiply 1.036 by 1,250 to give us 1,295. Now we're going to take a look at how to decrease an amount by a percentage using decimal multipliers. Remember, to decrease by a given percentage, we would usually find the percentage given, then subtract the answer from the original amount. When we use decimal multipliers, we're going to approach these questions in a similar way to the increase questions. So looking at the question on the left first, we're going to start by saying that 120 is 100%. If we want to decrease 120 by 73%, we need to subtract 73% from 100%. This gives us 27%. So if we're decreasing by 73%, we're actually finding 27%. And we can find a decimal multiplier that will help us work out 27%. 27% as a decimal is 0.27. So 0.27 is our decimal multiplier. This means that if we multiply any amount by 0.27, it will decrease that amount by 73%. So in this case, we're trying to decrease 120 by 73%. So we need to work out 0.27 multiplied by 120, which is 32.4. And this is our final answer. Approaching the question on the right in the same way, if we say 9,850 is 100% and we're decreasing by 2.6%, we need to subtract 2.6% from 100% to give us 97.4%. So decreasing by 2.6% is exactly the same as finding 97.4%. Now to find our decimal multiplier, we divide 97.4 by 100 to give us 0.974. And since we're decreasing 9,850, we need to multiply 0.974 by 9,850 to give us an answer of 9,593.9. Now you've seen a couple of examples of how to decrease by a percentage using decimal multipliers, you might want to pause the video here and have a go at the two questions on screen. If you paused, welcome back. Let's have a look at some solutions. So for the question on the left, we're decreasing by 36%. So if we're starting with 100%, we need to subtract 36% to give us 64%. Now 64% as a decimal is 0.64. So to decrease 860 by 36%, we multiply 0.64 by 860 to give us 550.4. For the question on the right, we're decreasing by 1.5%. So starting at 100%, we need to subtract 1.5% to give us 98.5%. Now 98.5% as a decimal is 0.985, so to decrease 5,420 by 1.5%, we multiply 0.985 by 5,420 to give us a final answer of 5,338.7. Thank you so much for watching this Now Maths video on decimal multipliers. If this was helpful or you want to see more content like this, please like this video or subscribe to the Now Maths YouTube channel. See you next time.